Welcome, my name is Tashar and this is StarMade. And we are staring at some random asteroids here in outer space. Why? Because I am done with my last project, the Borg Cube, tactical Borg Cube. And I released it to the docs. So we now have to start with a new project. At least that's the plan for today. I do know that I still have a couple of other bigger projects running, but I'm mainly building on those off screen and then going to make some episodes about that once I'm further along. But I felt like doing a smaller project just to tie me over for a bit because the Borg Cube was actually pretty big as far as builds go, and it took a lot of time to get very little progress actually. It was a lot of the same thing. So I wanted to build a smaller ship. And now it's the case that one of my viewers contacted me through the StarMade doc, Artica Sparkle to be exact, and he requested a build of the Raza from Dark Matter. And to be honest, I never really watched Dark Matter because it didn't air where I live, and it's not on the version of Netflix I have over here. But I did look up the ship, and it's quite interesting as far as ship designs go. Here's a picture of it. This ship is apparently a cargo vessel, but not any cargo vessel. It's a cargo vessel with a bit of a bite. It's got a lot of weapons, and it is about 200 meters in length as far as I know. 201 I think the official length was of the ship, so it isn't too big as far as builds go. And I think it's quite an unique design. It's got these four rotatable engine pods on the sides that can rotate downwards, and then it is able to land in the atmosphere on a planet. So that's quite an interesting take on the ship design as well. And yeah, I think I'm going to try it to see if I can make an inspired build on this ship design. There's always to take into account, if you try to build something in StarMade, it will never be exactly the same as the ship you're trying to build. That's just the blocks that have the limitation for that. But we can try to get it as close as possible within the game. So let's start this build then. And here we go. It's already quite recognizable, I think, because I did a bit of a test build for the actual rotatable engine pods, because they're going to be separate entities that can be rotated. I just built them as a separate smaller project to see the type of style I was going to go for, and if I could actually create a shape that was something that was similar to in the pictures I've got of this ship. Because like I said, blocks can be a bit limiting, but you can create a general shape of this engine with adding different elements to fill in the shape you go to build. And I moved around some things that I've seen on the reference images as well. For example, this air intake over here on the side. In the pictures, there's air intakes, two of them on a sloped piece of armor over here. But I can't really get that in this type of builds. It's too small for that. There's not enough space to make it work. So I moved around some things and basically gave it a bit of my own interpretation of how this engine should look. It's already lit up on the back. I've got a smaller engine here at the bottom as well. So I would imagine that the bigger ones are for faster travel, and the smaller ones for if you want to maneuver a bit within space and not use the big engines and burn lots of fuel for it. The second thing I did after building these engine pods just as a test is to grab a whole bunch of reference images and then draw some outlines of the ship over them in a paint program. And I counted the pixels and made this outline of the ship so that I know where everything needs to go and where the engine pods are going to be mounted to the main frame. And also, of course, to have a spot for my core so I know where the bridge is going to be. And I don't have to move my core later on. So this is my starting point. Engines are done. Frame is done. I'm probably going to add some more frames to it with the height for the main hull itself, and perhaps here at the bottom as well for a other cross section from left to right to get a whole picture of how big the ship is going to be. We are in build mode at the moment because I couldn't really left it like this with just the frame and the engines connected to this frame. I had to try the rotating bit. So I've put on some logic here and there we go. So yeah, this is what I'm going for. This is the landing position for the ship itself. Quite nice. I really like it. And this is the second part of the framing I'm doing. So a cross section all the way from the back to the front of the height of the ship. So these lines here in the middle, these will be the decks. That's something I need to figure out as well, because I have to fudge the height of the decks at some point, I think, when they intersect with the armor. But we'll see how far we can push it. There's no space between the decks, what I normally did with my other builds, because yeah, there's no point in placing systems between the decks anymore. So I'm not going to do that. Plus, this isn't really that big a ship to have multiple decks like this. So there's no point in wasting the space, I think. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4 main decks, basically, sort of, at least the way I laid it out now. And the bigger areas over here, these will be the cargo and shuttle bay holds. So that's why there's no other decks there. And this is the bridge, a bigger space available for that as well. I think I'm going to start with the bridge design itself and then work my way over the top, basically creating the spine of the ship, and then connect all the armor plating to the rest of the outline to the sides. That's probably the best way to do it, at least in my opinion. And once I've got the top done, I can start work on the bottom section of the ship. The Raza has this funky bridge design that it had these very narrow small windows that you can look through at an angle, placed at an angle, sort of. So it's not really a normal bridge design in the sense that the main windows at the front are used to navigate or anything like that. It's probably used more to show at least where you're going, but the instruments and the computers will probably be used more to navigate. So this is a view from the inside, and the core over here will have a similar view like this. And from the pictures and the videos I've seen, there were these consoles at the top as well within the roof, and then some additional windows that you can look up to the sky from. So I think this is somewhat similar to what the bridge should be, but yeah, it's not that big, and I'm quite limited with the detailing because the blocks are so big. But yeah, I think this is a good start of the main hull. I tried to follow the main outline of the ship all the way along the main spine of the ship, and it moves in armor plating all the way over here, and then this is the first turret hardpoint. This will house the biggest turret I think the ship has, at least as far as I've seen on the pictures. And this is something I have to figure out a bit with the weapon systems that I will add, how powerful I can make it, but it will at least have some capabilities to defend this ship. So yeah, like I said, it's a cargo vessel, but it has a lot of defenses going for itself, because this will not be the only turret it has. It has one additional turret in the back, and then two at the bottom, I think. It's got some kind of shelling system and some other stuff I don't know about, but I'll look it up. So we'll try to integrate that in the hull as well. And moving along, here is a further part of the spine section. I've decided to add some sort of missile system in here. It's not really clear from the pictures what this area is and what it does, but okay, I'll make it a weapon system. It's fine by me. And then it moves to this boxy area over here that I'm not sure if I really pulled it off correctly, but this is what I'm going for. This is the second turret hardpoint. This will house a smaller turret. As you can see here, this is a bigger one, this is a smaller one. Size comparison, I think this is half the size of that one. Something like that. And then we will move in the next section over here. This will house a docking bay for the shuttle, as far as I've seen on the pictures. And that's pretty much the spine done of the ship. I built it up all the way to the back. We've got these yellow lines here in the armor as well. It's also something taken from the reference pictures. Then the armor moves up slightly, then down here with the entrance to the docking area for the shuttle, and some sort of engine pods to the sides here for the main frame. It's always important to remember, if you do slightly sloped areas like this, I tend to break up the armor with the shapes here I've put into it. It works out slightly better for me, instead of having the straight lines all the way across that you can see. So try to break it up if you are able. Added in some side armor as well over here. This area over here houses the what do you call it? The mortar system, I think. Some sort of missile system is going to be integrated in here, I think. Probably a fast-firing, heat-seeking missile. That's what I'm going to go for, I think. And then use the guided missiles for this front section over here. So yeah, this already gives you a good sample of how the ship is going to look, how big it's going to be, and what the general look and feel of the armor plating is going to be. Now the hard part is going to come into place, because we have to connect this spine to the rest of the outline. That's going to be difficult, especially this area over here that connects to these side pods, engine pods, because it's a very organic, at least sloped shape. Not sure if I can pull that off all that well in StarMade, but we're going to try at least something that looks reasonable. I decided to start out from the back, so building up the armor plating from here, and then trying to integrate some of the shapes here I've seen in the reference images. It's quite difficult, because this is just jacket shape over here. This is something I don't like in my my builds, at least not the builds I have. Usually people describe it as a very clean build style, very clean lines. That's something I like as well. So other shapes than the 90 and 45 degree angles usually don't work that well with it, but we can add some tips and tricks to this build to make it work. I mean, I already told you about the breaking of the lines here for very shallow sloped areas. Did that here as well. And in these angles in it as well, that helps break up the monotony of the staggered armor plates. So we're going to try to add a similar method to this area to make this connect up properly. You can kind of see that I'm struggling with this area. This is a very difficult area for me to build, to connect up everything properly the way I want it. I do like the area over here that I've built, having this armor plating separated from the main body. Breaks it up a bit. I'm not sure about the connection to the main body yet, but we'll try to experiment a bit more with that. But yeah, getting this area armor plated is hard. It's not easy. But yeah, we can try a couple of different things and see what works out and what does not. I keep rebuilding and rebuilding this area, and it's still not working out the way I want it. Replace this part with something that is a bit more clean lined, but it's too big, too bulky. This is not connecting entirely the way I want it, and it's not following the shape that the picture is showing me. There's this yellow rectangle lines on the hull as well, and it's a bit how do you call it, sloped as well, but yeah, it's not working for me. This is not the look I'm going for. So I think I have to rebuild it again. I'm trying out different shapes, different armor panels, moving it around. No, this is not it either. And again, I ripped out the most of the armor panels, then rebuilt it again. Did a different shape in the back again here, but still don't like the jacket shape. I do like the shape I've got going now over here of the armor panels. I tried to break up this yellow line as well because it looked too big with the yellow line, rectangle line all the way around this shape. But I still think it's too big here in the middle, so I think I'll make it smaller. Yes, it's getting there, So I've got everything connected now on this part. These yellow lines are smaller now, with some grey panels at the ends to fill up the empty space. Still got this thing on the end, still don't really like it. But yeah, it's trying to, and it's connecting properly now, I think, all the armor. Already started to work on the front part of the ship as well, to get everything flowing through the cockpit area. Once I've got that all figured out, then I think most of the top part is done for now. I still will probably mess around with armor lines and perhaps some other type of decoration to liven up the place, but at least I've got the shape going. I can always work from there. And here we go. I think I've got everything connected up properly now. It's sort of the shape I'm going for with all the slopes. Everything is connected. This part I quite like now. Still not sure about the armor lines connecting to the cockpit, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to mess around with it later on, I think. I just wanted to have the shape done. Added this yellow lines as well on this end with the small vent-like structure that I've seen on the pictures. So yeah, I think the top of the ship is sort of done, at least in outline. Still need to add a lot of detailing, especially at the front part of the armor panels, because there's nothing there yet. But the shape of the ship is there at least. So I hope you enjoyed this start of the new build. We're going to finish the bottom part of the ship in the next episode, I think, and then we can work on some of the interior after that. Like I said, it's not a terribly big build for me, but it's quite fun to do. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.